welcome back to another episode of NFT Artist Spotlight, hosted by AstroZero. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Today on AstroZero Twitter Spaces, we have marble-based NFT arcade game creator CryptoMibs. Jasper will be speaking for them, and I'm super excited to talk about this project that you have on Polygon. So welcome to our spaces. I talk to a lot of artists on a daily basis, and when I get a chance to talk to somebody about music or gaming, I get super excited because it's typically just art projects, and I really kind of like talking about new stuff, especially the frequency that I'm talking to people. So I'm really glad that you're here to talk to the community. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I mean, we don't get to, to talk about ourselves that much all the time. So, and we've been working on this project for a while. We have quite a bit of history, I think, and a lot of, we've done quite a bit, I think. So I'm excited to be able to share this with the community. And I think there's, there's lots that we can still do. There's still a long way ahead. So we're excited about what the future brings too.
So how long have you guys been working on the project?
So we are one of the oldie ones, I think. So we started actually on this project in 2018. And we started initially on Ethereum, and this was way back, when Ethereum was $100. It cost nothing to mint, and I joke that thank goodness, we launched all our contracts at that time because it really didn't cost us that much. So we had a lot of fun. We learned a lot of things at that time, and we were working with some of, a lot of players that are no longer around or have taken different routes. We did a collab with CryptoKitties. They're also a Canadian company, so we had that thing going for us. And we had a couple of other players that we did some collabs with. So we've been around for quite a bit and we've had to adapt quite a bit, let's just say, to things that, a lot of things that we didn't see coming. So it definitely put a dent in our plans, and we've been adapting ever since, but we're still here. So we're still here and going strong.
So what made you decide to go a gaming route as opposed to just a strict NFT art project? Is it something that you have in your background? Have you been in development prior to NFT creation?
Yes. So gaming and tech are, I would say, more in my blood. So I used to work for a Canadian gaming company, but we did the hardware for gaming, so the GPUs and the graphics cards for playing video games. It was called ATI Technologies. It no longer exists, but it was definitely a pioneer at the time. They were purchased by AMD, so now they're part of AMD. But we were essentially, it was a head-to-head going, us against NVIDIA. And so even though my focus was on the hardware side, there's a lot of software, a lot of image rendering, a lot of late nights. It was in hindsight, it was one of the best jobs I ever had. So that's my background on the gaming space. When ATI was purchased by AMD, I had met my business partner a few years earlier at ATI, and I had already decided that I didn't want to work down the corporate road anymore. So when the packages came flying, we decided to start our own consulting firm. So for the past 15, 16 years, I've also been running or co-running a consulting firm in the IT space, but it always was, how do we get back to doing our own things, doing our own products? And when Ethereum and the blockchain started bubbling up and we started looking at it, it's like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for. And a game was like the number one thought, mostly because also gamers are by nature, they are the first to adopt new technologies. And when we looked at what was going on in Ethereum at the time, right, in early 2018, it was, what was driving it was gaming. And so we're like, it was perfect. So that's why we decided to jump in with both feet with a gaming platform.
So, what's the significance of marbles, and why did you go on marbles? Now, when I first saw your project, the first thing that popped in my game, because I'm an old school gamer, is on NES. There was a game called Marble Madness, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I
Yeah.
used to play at a Marble Madness. I just wondered if that was something that influenced you.
Yeah, like it was really after doing a bunch of research, and to be honest, it was more. There was actually there was a video by IBM, out of all people, where they were demonstrating the power of the blockchain. It was more a supply chain type of example, but using marbles. And and I had already been doing research, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out what would be the best way or the best game, because our real initial thought was really we wanted to get into the gaming space, but it was really more to learn, test what the technology could do. So we were just trying to figure out what would be the best way that we could, morph everything that was going on at the time. And when I saw that IBM video, I'm like, oh my gosh, marbles, that's perfect, because you can turn a marble into anything, right? And you can use it for anything, and you can transport it anywhere, because, when we started, the big things about the blockchain was being able to hop across projects, so immediate, it's like, okay, so you have a marble, we can do all kinds of marble games, and they can be mini games that can be, different people can have their own games, and you can have like a type of really almost like, thinking DAO, even though I didn't know what a DAO was at the time, but, that you could have different groups of people working under the same platform using a similar token, but they didn't necessarily have to be connected to each other. And then it was like, okay, but then to hop across other games, it's like, well, a marble, so it could be a marble in our game, I was thinking, crypto kitties, it could be a marble could then become, a cat's ball or toy, right? It could be a bullet in a war game. It could be a crystal in some fantasy game. So to me, it was just perfect. So we just, decided, and we talked about it, and the team decided that, yes, that's the way we're going to go. And so marbles it was. And I didn't know a lot about marbles at the time. I'll be honest. I had some marbles as a kid. I played some games, but there's a huge, I started looking into it. So from a collector's perspective, right, so the classification of marbles that we have in our game are actually based on real marbles. I did all the research about all the different classifications, patterns, what they're made of, where they come from, sizes, lingo, all of it. So we built it all into the platform, which which was actually exciting and kind of fun. So I'm gonna go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what do you have? 7 games total now that are available in your arcade when you purchase one of your NFTs?
I think there's 5 games and 2 additional features. I would say they're not necessarily games as in shooting games or whatever, but it's like things that you can do with your marble. So yeah, we have 7 overall.
So when somebody purchases one of the NFTs, they have access to everything that you guys have available, correct?
Yes. Well, yeah, and in fact, we also give people some limited access, even if they don't buy an NFT, because we're big about. Our big thing is about trying to bring people into this world, trying to develop it, and really about disrupting industries. I mean, there's certain industries that I highly dislike that I think this technology could do wonders in. So it's really about. But before we can get there, we really have to bring the masses in. So we added a functionality where even if you don't know anything about crypto or you don't have a wallet, you can still create an account with just your email, and you can still dabble and do some things, not all of it, obviously, but you can do some things on the platform.
Now, I saw on your website that you allow people to purchase marbles also with USD as opposed to just crypto. So how would somebody go about buying it with actual fiat?
Yeah, so all and that all came about when Ethereum fees started going up. And there's actually a timeline. I think it was March 2020 timeframe. Yeah, right around when the pandemic hit. I believe that gas fees just started to become so large on Ethereum and very prohibitive for people, especially in the gaming space. And you just saw this huge drop off of activity of NFT functions and transactions due to gaming on Ethereum. You can see it's like a cliff, right? It just goes right down. And so we were at a crossroads at that time. Especially because we were one of the early platforms. A lot of what we had built initially, we really never considered the effect of transaction fees from an operational perspective, because it was so cheap. Like it's almost like you're running on Solana or Polygon now, where you're paying pennies. So it's like, cost of doing business. Somebody wants to buy one of your marbles, we'll cover the transaction fees, right? So then it became not just prohibitive for people, but it became prohibitive for us. It was getting really expensive just to keep the platform alive. So we had to do some soul searching. We looked at possibly moving to other platforms. At the time, there was the hot platform to move to was called Loom. And a lot of gaming platforms did cross over. We hesitated and to be honest, it was just by pure luck that we hesitated. Eventually it turned out to be a rug pull, and a whole bunch of people got messed up in that. So we were lucky that we didn't jump on that bandwagon. So instead, we decided, we need to observe where all this is going. We need to see where this is going to go. So we decided that.
Did I get rugged?
Somebody got rugged.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think Jasper got rugged. Hold on 1 second, Jasper. I'm going to mute and then unmute. Yep, Jasper got rugged. Are you there?
There
All right,
she is.
So annoying. When how far did I get?
I don't know. You were on a roll, and then everything just kind of stopped.
So what was the last thing you heard?
You were about to go to a new thing that was new at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, you were talking. Actually, you were talking about the platform getting rugged, and then you got rugged.
That's funny. So people had moved on Loom, which was it was like another L2 type platform, and but people got rugged on that platform, and we didn't jump on it by accident. So we decided that instead of jumping on another platform, that we just were going to allow people to continue playing on the platform, but off chain. So we started moving some functionality off chain. And we also felt that in order to bring more people on board, that, because accessing crypto was still very difficult, much more difficult than it is now. So we needed to have a way to onboard people without crypto. So we just, we have what we call for fun marbles, which are essentially marbles that are hosted on our Web2 database. And people can purchase those for using their PayPal. And then they have the option to mint them on either Ethereum or Polygon later at whatever time they want. We were also working at the time on our what is now MibTrek, which is it's our app that's on Google Play. And again, because of all the tiptoeing with alternate payment methods, and you can't mention NFTs or crypto or anything like that, we had to give the ability for people on that game to be onboarded off chain. So we were doing that at the same time. So it kind of went hand in hand. So that's how we decided to add a bunch of off chain ability for people.
Very cool. How large is the team that you have working on this?
Now we're a little short-staffed. There's six of us at the moment. I do need to get a couple more people on board. Normally we're about 10, but we're making do with less people at this moment in time. All the impacts of the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. It's we're just kind of laying low for a little bit.
Well, how much does it cost for somebody to purchase one of the marbles in order to get involved in your arcade?
Oh, it's cheap. I think the most expensive one is like $7 US. So we're not about we're not about the big hundred thousands of dollars bringing although it would be nice because it would help us in fact to help us continue what we're doing. Anybody wants to help us out, just buying a marble too would be fantastic. We're about easy entry. We want to bring people in. We're about developing the technology, and we have all this knowledge now that we like to use it to help other people build their projects, because I think that's the only way that the ecosystem, and we're actually going to make a difference. We need to people can't afford, the general person can't afford, thousands of dollars to buy, a cool NFT. Some people can, but the majority of people can't.
Yeah, that's something that kind of grabbed me when I first got into looking at NFTs, like the gas prices versus the actual price of NFT itself. Kind of like it threw me off, like on the network where somebody was like, "Yeah, these NFTs are cheap," and then the gas was like 10 times as much as the NFT.
Yeah.
So kind of refreshing that you're on Polygon and we don't really have to worry about that too much, and it's affordable entry, so everybody can really kind of get in and have a good time. You have a play to earn element built into these games, or no?
We have some. We're looking to build more of that moving forward. So the play to earn aspect is more embedded in the games. So for example, talking about MibTrek, it's really it's a what I like to call the Candy Crush of the blockchain. Where it's essentially the same idea as Candy Crush, but you have you have to visit different universes. Each universe, as you move through it, is linked to a marble pattern, and our marble patterns do have there's a spectrum of how common they are. So, for example, our fancy swirl marble is the most common one, and we have something when you get into like a malachite marble. They're much rarer, so they're priced accordingly. Again, there's not a huge change in the price, but there is definitely some of them are more rare than others. And so we've linked, the universes on MibTrek to, you start with your most common, and as you move forward, your marble pattern gets more and more rare. So for you to have benefits and boosters, obviously you have to try to have some of these rare marbles. And then as you walk through the different levels and the different puzzles, you're going to be collecting marbles. And there's some marbles, like we have catalyst marbles, for example, which you can only win in game. So those are, obviously the opportunity for you to, if you get one of those, you can actually sell them because they will be more valuable. And then you have to actually forge crystals using different marbles with a function that we call Mib Fusion. And so those are definitely rare. So our play to earn is not in the same sense. I think most people think about play to earn more of a staking and from a financial point of view, right? Where almost like a stock market kind of thing. We're not big believers in that. I guess we're maybe old school gamers where our thing is that you should be able to play your game. The cool stuff about the blockchain is that now you can actually make some money, or if you invest money in a game, maybe you get your money back. Maybe you can make a little bit of money and have some fun. But it's really more about the fun factor and the cool factor, and not so much about that, oh my gosh, I'm going to stake this NFT and I'm going to quit my job in 6 months. That's really not what we're about. I'm gonna pin a tweet where so you can see the different marble types and some of the stuff that we have.
That would be awesome. I'll give you a second while you search the prompt in that before I hit you with my next question.
Let's see. Yeah, managing tweeting and pinning stuff at the same time. It gets fun. Here we go. Sorry, and I see that somebody in my house is causing havoc.
That's okay.
There you
So, after you pin that, can you explain how the MIB fusion actually works a little bit more in depth?
Absolutely. And I think also that I do have another tweet that I think I have a little video attached to it, so I think it'll help you.
Okay.
Let me post that, and then I can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, 'cause I was trying to understand it, and I think I got it, but I'd rather hear it from so I fully respond.
Here we go. Let me tweet it out. It's going because it has a video. I think it's taking a second. So there, it just went out.
All right, and I'll retweet the space while you're doing that. And yeah, if you when you're ready, just if you could explain the MIB fusion to us, because
Yeah.
so
I just tweeted it. So I just pinned it. So hopefully people see it. But so fusion is the concept where you can actually take two NFTs and fuse them together into one to give you a unique NFT. Now there's all kinds of things that you could do with this functionality. The way we've initially applied it is really linked to our MibTrek game, because this is how you actually get to fusing a crystal. So our marbles are based on SVG format. We did that we were actually trying to put stuff on chain. So we were trying to make smaller file sizes to see if that was doable. We ended up going against that. And instead we decided to make some cooler functionality with Fusion with it. So yeah, so you can take any marble, and you can do that now even just for fun. And you can take two marbles. Now, the only condition for it is that they have to be of the same pattern, and they have to be on the same chain, right? So either they have to be marbles, they all have to be on Ethereum, they all have to be off-chain, or they all have to be on Polygon. And then it'll fuse the colors of those two marbles together, create a new one. It'll burn one of them, and the other one will now become the new marble.
Okay.
You have the option of doing it with two marbles, or which what we call creating a prime marble. And then if you do it with three marbles, that's what gives you a crystal.
Okay, I understand a little bit better now. It says on the website too that if you have unwanted assets from other dApps, you could trade them in your trading store. Does that mean, like, if I have an NFT that I necessarily don't want, I could trade it in for something in your store and swap it for something else? Is that it?
Yes, and this is actually functionality that we're trying. So as part of now that we've moved on to Polygon, we need to add more dApps onto Polygon, and so that you can trade Polygon stuff. So what was happening? So this came out of when we were working on Ethereum. So again, before the big hike in prices and all that kind of stuff, for example, there were all these apps and dApps, I guess. And they were mostly a breeding type of dApp. So you had the CryptoKitties, right? You would go and you would mint all kinds of CryptoKitties, purchase them, breed them, and yes, some of them had really rare attributes. But for the most part, there was like thousands of cats, right, that did nothing. And there's another game called Blockchain Cuties. They're still around, actually. Well, I know CryptoKitties is still around too, but there's also Blockchain Cuties. And there's crypto, there was crypto flowers, even Axie Infinity. We had all kinds, there were all kinds of dApps that, people had hundreds of these things, and you couldn't do anything with them. So we decided that, we almost like being the Salvation Army, I guess, of the crypto space. You kind of have like a recycling depot or something. So, people could trade in their, cats or whatever it was that they couldn't use. And they would we have our in-game currency called tickets that, that you can use to buy lives, you can use to play games, or you can use to buy other assets as well. And so those, so people then could come and trade. And then if you were somebody, for example, who couldn't access crypto at the time and really wanted to understand NFTs or wanted to get a CryptoKitty, then you could just play and grind our games for a while, earn some tickets, and then you could actually get a CryptoKitty from the reward store. So I mean, that was the idea. Those stores are still there. The problem is that, again, with the high Ethereum prices, nobody's gonna transfer any of these assets because it'll cost you $200 just to do the transfer. And it's really not worth it. So we're now looking for dApps that we can collaborate with, so that we can actually build up again this functionality on Polygon, so that if people wanted to trade something, or they got an asset and they decided that they don't no longer want it, they can do something with it still if they can't sell it, and and then maybe somebody else can trade for it. So that's the idea.
Very cool. So you also have a MIB factory included in this. So what I got from that is, let's say I want to go and buy a Sleepy Pirate NFT or like a Coin Laundry NFT. I could take that NFT and transfer it into a marble at like a playing game.
Yes. So we've and this is part of where we add some utility, in the game. And again, it was our initial attempt at doing some, what we call hopping, project hopping. So you can bring in, if you own assets from other dApps, and we tried it we have it set up in our test environment with Beluga Bay on Polygon, where you can actually create a Beluga Bay marble if you own it, right? And we have like all the checkpoints. For example, each asset can only exist once in a marble, right? So if you own a Beluga Bay, you mint it in a marble, for example, then you sell the Beluga Bay to somebody else, and they came on our platform and they try to use the Beluga to mint a marble, they won't be able to if that marble still exists. Now, if somebody overwrites that Beluga that existed previously, then you can. But as long as this marble with the Beluga Bay exists, it's only one at a time. So so that's and then what we've done is that if you have these special marbles from other assets, you have special powers in games. So again, this is all stuff that we had built with Ethereum that now we're going to redo with Polygon, where you can play a game, and if you own a CryptoKitty marble, you get this kind of power in this game, this kind of booster in another game. And also gives you access. It can even give you exclusive access to special areas in our special types of games. So we have what we call the MIB sphere, which is our version of the metaverse. And it's not the exact same thing as the metaverse. It's more of exclusive access area, where if you own these marbles, you get to play, games that are specific to you. And they have, and they, you have more special prizes, and you can have special tournaments and stuff like that.
Awesome. What's up, Sleepy Pirate? Do you have a question? Sleepy Pirate? Poor guy fell asleep.
We need to collaborate.
He put his hand up. I think he's trying to reconnect. We'll try to get him up here in a minute when he comes back into the room. Where was I? Sleepy Pirate kind of threw me off there. Oh, you guys are going to have artists be able to come in and create their own marbles. So you're basically open to collaborate with pretty much any NFT artist out there, as long as they're willing to, craft anything for your game, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and they don't even have to. We don't even have to have a real collaboration per se. So we any artist can post their unique marble. So if they have their own marble designs, our only rule is that they have to be marble designs. We'll post them on our marketplace. They can sell it for whatever they want. We profit share at the time of sale. So all of our marbles in our marketplace are not minted. They get minted at the time of sale. So if an artist wanted to, have a handful of cool marble designs that they wanted to post on our marketplace, it costs us nothing really. Costs them their effort, costs us a little bit of effort, but really for nothing. We'll post them on the marketplace, and when they sell, there's hopefully money to be made on both sides. And then our commitment is that then as we build games, we try to include the designer marbles into the utility. So for example, we have our Mibjet game, which is just a fun going through space collecting marbles and avoiding obstacles kind of game. The very last level is designer level. So to get through that level, you really need to have a designer marble. So just to encourage, there's a way to encourage, maybe groups of people who wouldn't necessarily interact with each other to interact with each other. So if somebody will have some cool designer marble as part of their collection, and it actually has some utility as they play games as well. So, and it has the same utility as, for example, if you own 5 marbles, you get 5 recurring lives on all games. So if you had, 4 regular marbles and your 5th one is the designer, well, the designer marble counts for that too. So we treat it, as we would treat any of our marbles.
Okay, understood. Sleepy Pirate, do you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I got rocked, but I was excited about the idea of, having some sleepy pirates in the marbles. They're rolling and getting dizzy after they stop. That was funny.
You can have all kinds of fun stuff. One of the funnest things that we did in that collaboration was when we were working with CryptoKitties. We created a hairball marble. And the utility on this marble is that you owned one, right? And these were like very rare, only a handful of people got these marbles. But if you had a hairball marble, you could gift it to your opponent, especially if somebody was beating you in a tournament or something like that. And then if somebody owned it, we have code in the game that it would show up in their game. And if they hit it, it would be instant death, right? So, so you could do like all kinds of fun stuff, with depending what you're doing. So, you want to do something with sleep, and anything is possible. You can definitely have a lot of fun.
So do you have tournaments built into each one of the games in your arcade, or is it only specific games that you're doing this with?
Right now we have 2, and they're, I wouldn't say tournaments. They're more like rewards for playing and continuing to play games and get through levels. So we have our CryptoMibs tournament, where essentially there is the 3 highest scorers ever. Every time they log in, they get extra tickets for being first top 3, and then we have we keep track of what people are playing on a weekly basis, and the people with a higher score every week, they also get weekly rewards for playing. And then we have the similar idea for the Mibsphere. So right now in the Mibsphere, we have just CryptoKitties and Crypto Assault. There are 2 games, and and we have a big community of people from CryptoKitties who still play. So we grant tickets for the weekly winners of the Mibsphere. So it's the highest score of both all of the Mibsphere games combined.
I'd imagine game development is a very, very tedious avenue to go down. Do you have any other future games planned through your arcade, or are you going to stick with what you have and just try to do the marketing for the marble element, or are you going to just expand on the arcade and keep on going and adding new games?
Oh no, we have big plans. Unfortunately, we also need big money, but hopefully there'll be some investors out there listening. No, we have a bunch of plans. On the CryptoMibs platform side, we have more games that we want to build. We have started building, like a marble run type of game, which will be a little bit more complex because we do want to, we want to introduce an NFT that is really the track that then people can build different tracks, and then you can use your marbles to compete against each other. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to be really cool. So we've started working on that, and there's we've done a few surveys as to what the kind of games that people want to play. I was amazed that people actually want to see board games based on marbles, which I was actually shocked. So so we have a couple of those kind of games that we want to build, but also to say again, we do want to get back to what these platforms are really intended to be. I mean, we would love to just collaborate with other devs who have ideas of games and find a way, right, that they can profit and we can profit over time, right? Just collaborate and add to the ecosystem so that everybody can have some fun. So that would be the plan, for CryptoMibs, and we have there's so much more functionality that we can add, or that we can even just expand on what we have, like for Fusion, right? Like there's right now is really limited to just MibTrek, but we can expand that to be it can be other assets. It can right now it's a bit restrictive on the selection, but we can loosen that up. Same with Mib Factory, right? You can open it up so that it's not just you're bringing in assets from other games, but you allow artists to submit, their own art to be used on Mib Factory, so people who just want to mint a marble, they can pick an artist and they can do their own rendition on a marble of this artist's work, and obviously then the artist would get a royalty for somebody using their art, and then you could do something like that. So ideas, we've got 1 million of them. It just becomes a matter of prioritizing, and what we can do with the time that we have. But then the other thing that we're really most excited about is that we see a need for is that we think we have a lot of utility, a lot of stuff that we already built that most projects out there, especially artist projects, could actually use to add utility to their projects. So we want to try to find a way, as opposed to bringing in projects into CryptoMibs, that we can bring CryptoMibs out towards the project. So, build a kind of city or something, not so much. I hesitate using the word metaverse, because to me, metaverse is a little bit more centralized and rigid. I want this to be more open and free flowing, but have a kind of city where, people can come, we have a marketplace, we have a playground, we have, an educational area or something. And then we can, people can benefit from all the stuff that we've built. So we're trying to put our heads around that, how that would look, how that would work, and how much money we would need to do that. So we're in the process of doing that and excited about that.
Now, is the game playable on all different platforms, on your phone, your PC, your tablet, VR setups? Is it playable through all of those types of platforms?
Yes, most of them are. The only one that is not playable on a phone is Snakes and Marbles, because it's a square. It's the game is played on a square, and it just doesn't display properly. You can kind of play it, but not really. So it doesn't display properly. It's one of the things that we've actually have on the to-do to see if we can actually change it so that we can have a different view of it. But everything else, yes, it's playable on all the different types. Some better than others, and that's the other thing with development with so many different platforms and devices and stuff. But we definitely do our best to accommodate all of it.
Yeah, I guess call me old school, but I hate playing games on the phone. There's just not enough area. So for me, I'd much rather play it on like a tablet or on just a standard PC as opposed to something like that. So that's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, we it took us a while to put MibTrek on the web, but we did do that earlier. I guess it was late last year that we finally launched it. Yeah.
So being that the NFTs are so affordable, like you were saying, basically like the base marble that you could purchase is somewhere around $7. Have you decided to maybe incorporate some type of betting aspect? Like I bet my marble versus your marble, and then you compete against each other, and it's like winner takes all, and the NFT would get transferred over from some sort of like escrow into the winner's wallet.
Yeah, so we just launched our first two-player game, so Midbuster, which is really I think some of us who are old as we are maybe I think it was called now the name escapes me. A mastermind, right? So it's one player sets a code in the form of a pattern of marbles, and the other person has to guess what it is. So we have that right now, and we set it up so people can play, in a room, and they can chat with each other and everything. And right now we set it that you can play with for tickets if you choose to. You don't have to, but if you choose to. And we're actually working so that the next thing is that you guys can bet against each other's marbles. It's a difficult thing to work on because we don't have a gambling license, right? And we run out of Canada, like we are a proper corporation set in Canada, and there's many rules that you have to watch. Yes, you can still do it and hope that you don't get caught, but obviously we don't want to be in that position. So we haven't gone down the path where we want to make the transition into gambling, which would require probably moving to another country, the organization, and so it gets complicated. So we really have to make sure that all the games have a skill component to it, and we have to be very careful how much gambling is allowed on the platform. So like our game Skydrop, which was the first game that we launched with, because it was it was just fun, simple game to test with. We originally, that game, you would actually play it with your marble. The marbles would go into each of the buckets, and then eventually whoever landed in these other in the buckets following, they would get the marbles that were on those buckets. But it was like flagged by the lawyers as if you can't do that, like they're going to shut you down. So we really had to pare it down so that it's really just you can still win marbles, but at the end of the day, the person really has to win something, and you can't be betting for money and all this kind of stuff. So it's something that I watch some of the other projects out there, and depends where your jurisdictions are, or maybe you're small enough that's not a problem, but that's definitely something that we tread lightly on.
If anybody has any questions for Jasper, feel free to raise your hands. I'll bring you up to the box. If you're in the box, raise your hand, and you can just go ask away. Oh, Sleepy Pirate. Yes, what's up?
Yeah, Jasper. I am about to develop a game too. I mean, which platform would be the best for, I guess, if you know my concept, for me? And also, another question, what inspired you most on your journey?
So as far as platforms go, I mean, it really depends. I mean, we would have to really talk about what your goals are and that kind of stuff. Obviously, Polygon, it's the easiest and cheapest to kind of put your NFTs, Polygon, whether you're on Tezos or whatever, to me, they're all similar. It's just a question of what you want to code in and how decentralized, you really want to be. I think most of the gaming functionality has to be on a server somewhere, right? It's you can't put all this stuff on chain right now. Rollups will likely change some of that. We're actually doing a bit of work on rollups. We're helping. It's more from a development perspective as a testing and learning experience. We're working with the Cartesi rollup. just to see, what can you really do as far as putting gaming functionality on the blockchain, or on a rollup. And I know that Immutable X is similar. So, right now it's really putting it on a Web2 server, and then it's really up to you who you want to reach, which really dictates which platform or which blockchain you want to go on. We picked Polygon mostly because the connection with Ethereum, because we started on Ethereum, we didn't have to learn anything new. We could cut and paste our contracts essentially into Polygon. So it was a very easy transition. And, we had really good early interactions with the Polygon team. And even now, if, we have we have a chat group on Telegram, anytime I ping them, I get responses from them right away. So they've been a pretty good team to work with. And to me, that's very important when deciding which, network you want to work with. So hopefully that answers your question on the platform.
Yeah, it did.
Cool. And then as far as what inspires me, I don't know. I think, again, this space is something that I've always been passionate about. And, not necessarily just the gaming aspect of it, but it's more, I am passionate about that we need to change something in this world, right? Like, especially the distribution of income. Like, to me, blockchains are really about redistribution of income, trying to find a way for smaller groups of people, smaller companies, to be able to work, earn, and for society to stop being, managed by, the Amazons and the Facebooks and the World Banks and of the world, right? So that's what really drives me, because, and gaming is a way of starting that process. I see ourselves move, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do much more with our gaming knowledge and build all kinds of applications. I mean, with my background, I spent 16 years working in business. I've worked in all kinds of businesses, from finance, pharmaceuticals, retail, you name it, sports, so I'm quite familiar with very many industries and things that can be done. So to me, this is just a way of, getting all that knowledge and experience, and how can we drive, this space forward. And I don't like what I'm seeing, like, because, you're already seeing this centralization of, of the Web3. When Engine first came out, and they reached out to us, I think in 2019, when they first started, about joining their ecosystem, because they're big, gaming platform. But again, you start looking at it, and it's like, well, but at the time you were being forced to move everything under their contract, and it's like, well, but that's just centralizing, And yes, would we have made more money by joining their ecosystem? Yes, 100%. We probably would have made more money, but that's not what we're about. This space can't be just centralized under the big names. We have to keep pushing to keep it so that everybody can actually benefit from it. So that's what drives me.
You got anything
Awesome.
else?
Yeah, I got one more. And I'm sorry if I missed it, if you guys have talked about it, because I'm so sleepy. It's 5 a.m. here. So is that important to have a minting option on your website? So, because I'm about to develop a, website for my game, how important is the minting option?
I personally think it's, I like putting it, or giving the user the option to mint when they want. And it's just part of, how we set up our whole site from the beginning. We very early on decided that, we didn't want to do these large pre-minting contracts, because again, seeing all the, and I don't want to say crap, but seeing like all these thousands and thousands of NFTs being minted that really weren't going to go anywhere. To me, that was just noise on the network. So, so we kind of talked about it and said, well, one way to make this more efficient is like, well, don't just mint a whole bunch of stuff that maybe nobody's going to buy. Just have it and, just in time minting kind of thing. If you want to take something from the business world. So we always set up our website that none of our stuff is pre-minted. It's always minted on the, when somebody buys it. And then because we also give the option for people to buy off chain, then having the ability for them to mint when they are ready becomes important. It really depends on your philosophy, what's easiest for you and what you're trying to achieve. For us, it was very important. And I think it just makes things cleaner and a little bit more user-friendly.
You good, Pirate? All right. My next question for you is, I usually ask this to people that do game design. Do you guys make all the music and sound effects in-house, or do you go outside to get somebody else to do the music and sound for your game? Because it's always like the one part of the game that I think really goes where people kind of look over it and don't think of it too much, but it's a huge part of the gaming experience.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably an area where we could do a lot of improving. We just kind of, we go and we listen for songs that we think are cool, that that we can that you're allowed to download, or you go to the sites that allow you to download music, and we just do the best that we can. That's and again, to us is an opportunity with all these artists and NFT artists. It would be really cool to be able to link that, to have the music on our games to actually be from NFT artists, and have a way to find that to be a collaboration. We have not done that yet, but it's definitely something that it's on the roadmap.
Hey, Dave, welcome up here. Did you have a question for Jasper?
Yeah, more of a when than an actual question. But no, I love what they're doing, and I love how interactive it is. And I've offered some sort of UX, and I just wonder, have you implemented any changes to the sort of UX UI journey, Jasper, since? Because I've literally been too busy to look over the last 2-3 weeks.
Oh no, since we've talked, no, we haven't had a chance to. We haven't done any big changes yet, and I know that you have some thoughts on that, and I would love to hear it. Because yes, I agree that trying to improve the retaining people on the platform and how to make it more that people want to keep coming back is definitely something that we need to work on.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't a slight when I raised it. I think what you're doing is absolutely awesome, and the work and the effort that you put in is fantastic. And I love how engaged you are with the whole community to try and do something for the Polygon community, to support back as much as you are to benefit you off the back of it. So it's just more the questions are more like, what was your real inspiration with marbles? Did you grow up with them? Were they important to you growing up, or is it more of a link to the collector's side of things for everyone in this area? Because I really like digging into those things.
Yeah, no, we it was more of as we were trying to brainstorm what would be something cool that would best fit the space. At the time, we were like, marbles was perfect because it has the collector's side and it has a gaming side. So it really fit perfectly with what we were trying to do at the time. So I had to actually go back and do a ton of research, and I learned a whole bunch of stuff about marbles. And I have seen I think it was in 2019, or maybe it was earlier. I did go to Italy and I did watch how they actually hand make marbles, like the glass blowers and stuff. And I was really impressed by that. So I did have that still in the back of my mind. So that was also part of it.
I love that. And basically anyone over the age of anyone that grew up slightly analog. So before maybe anyone that was under 10 before 2003, 2004 probably grew up playing with marbles. So yeah, no, I think it's awesome. That's it, guys. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, we would eventually like to have, one of the things that we'd like to see in the future, right, is that, okay, so now you have this NFT marble. It would be really cool that then you could go somewhere and actually have somebody print you a version of the marble or make your real one. And I actually contacted, this guy, the guy that does the 3D printing, to say, hey, because I did contact some 3D printers because they're starting to do printing with glass, but the technology is not quite there yet. But I'm guessing in 5 years or so that we'd be able to do that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, blow my mind. Done. Honest, sorry, Dave.
No, I was just saying that would be awesome if you could get like your NFTs switched over into actual legit marbles that like your kids could play with. Or, I mean, I'm kind of like a big kid that I could play with. You know, I think that would be awesome.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So, a couple more questions before we wrap up because we've already been going for about an hour now. I have to make a phone call very shortly, but are you going to be a part of our Polygon Metaverse Summit on the 22nd with Creative Owls? Are you going to be coming for that?
100%. Yeah, we are in it, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, we'll definitely will be there.
Awesome. You know, because we met in Spaces, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I always try to talk to all of the Polygon people. So I'm glad that you were able to come. What's up, Dave? You got another one?
Yeah, oh God, yeah, no, Owls just showed me that. I've seen your artwork hanging, Jasper. One of the advantages of supporting the Polygon community in the way I do is that I've had a sneaky view, and I'm not allowed to share it, but I can't say anything. But damn, it looks good.
Cool.
Yeah, everyone's like prominent as well. Like there's big pictures of everyone's artwork. So yeah, I'm super excited for Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah, Pirate.
If I remember it correctly, we are next to each other's, right? We're showcase.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Awesome.
My last 2 questions for you. Are you a little bit concerned being on Polygon for when ETH 2.0 comes out? Do you think it's going to take away from your project? I guess it's not so difficult, right? Because you said you could just transfer code back over if that seems to be what would be necessary. What I'm really getting at is, do you think once that is released, if it ever gets released, who even knows, if that's going to be a major concern for Polygon artists, or do you think we're going to be able to push forward enough where it's not going to affect the community?
No, I'm not worried because I think Polygon will still exist regardless of what happens with Ethereum. I think there's use cases for the existence of both, and especially when it comes to gaming. Like I really don't think that Ethereum is really going to be the place where gaming platforms will thrive. For ourselves specifically, I'm not worried because we still have our function. So we didn't stop or close our contract. So we can still function and we have a whole bunch of users who are on Ethereum and they can still, our contracts are still active. If they want to pay the hundreds of dollars in fees, it'll still work. And the way we implemented is that we actually so if you mint a marble, so say you mint marble 16 on Polygon, marble 16 cannot exist on Ethereum. So we've kept the IDs so that we have essentially a collection of marbles, and where they exist is irrelevant, and it's fluid in the platform, so we can function on both. But I do believe that Polygon will still be necessary and will still continue beyond Ether 2.0, and they will launch it. I have full confidence in the Ethereum community that they will get it done. I think I was talking in the New Girl on the Blockchain space earlier today. Somebody asked a similar question, and will it be will they have issues? Will it be bumping? 100%. Again, as someone who has implemented very large corporate projects, I have full appreciation of how difficult what they're trying to do is, how amazing what they have already accomplished is, and they will get it done. It's just it may take a little while, and I know people are sneer at them about it or whatever, but I think it's in all of our benefits that it actually is successful. I think for Polygon's sake is actually they need to be successful. But I do believe that they will be. So.
All right. And for somebody that is getting into NFTs and they decide that they want to have a gaming aspect mixed in with their NFT project, what would be one bit of advice that you could give them that might help them along the way?
Talk to somebody who does development, give them your vision so that they can actually give you a sense of how easy or difficult it is, what you're trying to do. Like actually spend a little bit of money on talk to a developer, because things are always trickier than you think. And again, and especially as an artist, you may not realize, all the things that go in the background, right? It's not just a contract, right? There's a lot of things that go in the background. There's a lot of things that are interconnected. So.
Okay, and my last and final question for you before we wrap up. Where do you see CryptoMibs 6 months from now?
Well, I'm hoping that we'll be working with, so I'm hoping that we'll be more ingrained in the Polygon community. So again, bringing up, onboarding Polygon artists, Polygon, projects that, we can have, cool marbles with them, playing games with them, and having them, in our reward store and our trading store. So kind of rebuilding all the stuff that we did, that we had built on Ethereum. And and then I'm hoping that we'll be getting started on this city, where we can actually start, some kind of fun NFT city, where we can all live and play together.
Well, that's really awesome. I want to thank you, Jasper, for coming out and talking to our community and taking an hour out of your day to let us know what's going on with your project and what's going on with yourself. Please give Jasper a follow here on Twitter. Also, the website's CryptoMibs.io. Go over there and buy yourself a marble. And, let's go jump in the arcade together and start playing against each other. You heard Jasper, they're super cheap. You could buy a floor marble for about $7. So if you don't have $7 laying around, then get out of crypto. Don't come back.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm so honored that you even asked to meet me to talk. So I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to see what we can all build together.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Tomorrow we will be having a space open. Let me see here. Let me look at my schedule before we wrap up. Tomorrow on Spaces at 8 p.m. we have Pixel Reviver. He does like really cool kind of Japanese-based themed cartoon stuff. So if you like, if you kind of dig some anime-ish type stuff, he has some really cool stuff. He's a good friend. I jump on his show once in a while, and he's a really super nice guy. So if you can make it out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, once again, I want to thank you, Jasper. The name of the project is CryptoMibs, and once again, CryptoMibs.io. Stop by, check it out. Send Jasper and the team a follow, and looking forward to seeing you in the future. Sleepy Pirate, you have a quick question before I close?
Yeah, when Sleepy Pirate AMA? When?
When?
Awesome.
Also, thanks for all the answers, Jasper.
We'll figure something out. I'll message you and we'll work out a day. But I got to wrap up, guys. I have to make a phone call. My brother called me for some reason, so I got to call him up. So
keep the room open. I'm going to play you out.
Are you going to play us out? Okay. All right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot, guys.